Hi lovelies, welcome back to my channel. If you have not met before, my name is Winnie, and on this platform I share my life experiences ranging from studying as an international student to family to lifestyle and lots more. And today I have a returning guest, a registered nurse in the UK, and she's here to delve into more details about the MSc Preregistration. Forgive me, guys. She's here. She's ready to delve into more details about the MSc Preregistration Nursing course in the UK. Sophia, would you introduce yourself to our guests?
Okay, my name is Sophia and I am a registered nurse. Yeah, so I studied through the MSc level 7 course. Yeah, so that's how I got my nursing degree.
Thank you, Sophia. So very quickly, if you haven't clicked on the subscribe button, please, before we start giving the juicy gist, click on the subscribe button, like, comment, and share, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. So Sophia, are you ready to tell us more about the interview in nursing? Now, guys, I know I already have an interview in nursing, but I thought it's better for you to hear from the horse's mouth. You understand? A different perspective to it, because some people will say, you applied from the UK now. What about people that applied from outside the UK? This is someone that applied from outside the UK. So she will be telling us about how to prepare for a nursing interview to get into the MSc Preregistration Nursing course. So Sophia, the floor is yours. Shed more light.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity to share my side of the story. Okay, so how I applied. So I prepared for my interview quite intensely actually. I just sorted out like what they might be looking for. So from school to school, it differs what they're actually looking out for during your interview. So during the interview, they can ask you from personal experience application questions to a range of more um, of facts or more value-based questions. Let's put it that way. So first thing, important things you should actually do to prepare for your interview will be to check out the country. So in this context now, it's the UK, right? And they have values. The NHS has values.
Now, let me cut you short. Some people don't know what NHS is. What is the NHS in the UK? What is it about?
So it's the National Health Service. So it's the largest provider of healthcare services in the UK. So it's government run. And most universities will actually use the UK and the NHS as their provider for your course. So most likely, most of the patients you're going to be coming in contact with are in this service. So the NHS has values. So you check out the values. What are the values of the NHS? What do they believe in? Because these values will also help you, explain. And one important thing to always remember during your interview is to give examples. You can't just talk someone through a value-based question without personalizing it. So I think many times that can throw someone off in an interview because they want to see how well you have interacted with these materials or how well you also believe in the same values. I mean, if you're checking someone's values, if they align with yours, you ask questions, right? So first of all, make sure that you know the values, you know them, read about them, read about the 6 C's, read about, things like medication routes, read about things like that, and then apply it to your own experience so that when you're relaying it to someone, they understand from where you're coming from.
Okay, just to break it down, because some people might be thinking, what is she talking about? What Sophia is trying to say is when they ask you a question and you tell them, for example, I'm a compassionate person, be ready to give an example where you showed compassion. So Sophia, can you break it down for us? Say you've told me I'm a compassionate person, I'm the interviewer, and I ask you, what are your values? You say, oh, I'm a compassionate person. how best would you show me you're compassionate during the interview? What are, like an example, would you tell me this is what I
Okay,
did?
so let's act like we're in an interview
Okay.
now. So,
What
oh,
are your values?
okay, so I think my values, they align with the NMC's values of the 6Cs, and one of the significant values is compassion. So I believe I'm a compassionate person, and I have shown this over time through my experiences and interactions with people when I volunteered in a local hospital in Nigeria. And how I showed this was that one day um on my shift, I encountered like a patient who was experiencing something for the first time, and she just needed someone to talk her through the process of it, because she okay, I'll just say that she was a um gynae patient, and the doctor had given her a diagnosis that she was not so happy with, and she needed to be put through, but then she felt like no one was listening to her. So compassion to me there was me approaching the woman and offering her help, asking her if I could speak with her and explain exactly what the procedure she was going to have. So that's like basically what they will be expecting. So a good tool to use in this case will be an S bar tool. So first you tell us the situation,
Mm-hmm.
then you tell us the background, and then you tell us the action you took and recommendation. For some people, it's star
Star
in the star
method.
method. So there are
Yeah.
so many methods you can actually use. So it can help you break down whatever you want to say during that interview and help the person you're communicating with understand the point you're trying to make, right? Some other things that you will need to prepare for during an interview or during the nursing interview, because it's core skills and it's still part of a big part of nursing. For science, for example, a nurse should know how to be organized. A
Mm-hmm.
nurse should know how to manage time.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're telling me, oh, I'm good with time management, and you've written this in your personal statement, I want to know practically how do you organize yourself. So in that interview, I'll more likely tell them, oh, as a student nurse, I will be showing a great skill which will be helpful for my nursing practice, which is organization skills, by maybe calling up my placement and planning ahead of time for the placement. So this will help me know how well to plan my work and school balance. So saying something like that gives them to say, okay, this person knows what organization kind of means. Being organized is, oh, I don't do my assignments deadline and the
Last
last
minute.
minute. Being organized is I have a weekly plan to write my essay, or have 2 weeks plan, which truly, honestly, you will have to do that
That's the
because nursing school
facts
will push you to have a
telling
plan.
you.
You get, so things like that just gives you an edge in that interview. So learn about the values. Go to Google, check about NMC codes of conduct as
Mm.
well. Check about the NHS values. The NMC is the Nursing and Midwifery Council.
Mm.
Check about 6Cs. Just value based questions, and then be practical in your explanation of the values.
Thank you so much. There's just one bit I want you to shed more light on, because we come from a background where there's not so much stressed about confidentiality. We
Yeah.
don't talk about confidentiality because I wouldn't want our viewers who might be thinking of pursuing a career in nursing to go into their interview giving the examples of where they've showcased some values that are in sync with
Yeah,
the
true.
NMC and then breach on confidentiality. So what do
Yeah.
you have to say about being confidential in
Okay.
this context?
So basically, things I feel like are quite key, right, during that interview, and how you put your interview out, even down from the personal statement. Confidentiality is one, consent is another thing to show, and then also being person centered with your care. And I'll explain. So one thing that is not so common from where we're coming from is making a, even though actually they do it, but
Yeah.
it's not on a high scale level. You can still maybe find out and find some people gossiping or talking about maybe a
Mm.
patient case, right? Things like that, you shouldn't include it in your interview. That,
Certainly.
oh, I was talking with a fellow colleague and they were telling me about, that's breach of confidentiality, right? And if it's not to in the patient's best interest, you've breached
Yeah.
confidentiality, right? So those are another angle, like it's another angle to look at. Like when you're coming off, you have to also explain your examples, like the example I gave, without names, specifics, don't put in specific. It should be a very vague example. You shouldn't tell your interviewer exactly the name, the patient, the date, the time. Those are not necessary. State your point without, bridging confidentiality. And then another thing to also notice is that consent is key in care. We don't force people like to do what they don't want to do. So when you're being interviewed, you can't be giving me an example whereby you enforced your way on a patient. That's a no-no. That's a no-no. So then lastly, I think being person-centered with your care, in the sense that one of the beauties of the care of the NHS is that everybody gets that feel of being cared for
Yeah.
personally. So you have that feel that you're being heard, you have that feel that you're being, carried along with your care. The doctors or the nurses don't just come up to a conclusion and leave you out of it.
Yeah.
So it's a huge value that is not, it might not be clearly said in maybe all the values that you'll be checking up on online, but it's a very big deal. Like it's a big deal. So showing that you are person centered, like, okay, let's, for instance, if Winnie is my case study, I'm trying to relate to my interviewer, and I'll say, oh, I asked the patient, or I asked the person, how do you feel about this? Are there any preferences you like? Do you think that this is going to bridge maybe your belief system? And these are the things that I asked the person to show that I had an interest in that patient's care. So it also shows care, it covers being compassionate, it covers even being
Exactly.
competent, because
Mm-hmm.
it helps you know that, okay, these are the things I can handle, these are the things I cannot handle. So stating that in an interview can really help you. I mean, yeah, so
Thank you so much, Sophia. This has been so insightful. So, guys, I hope you picked a few points from what she said. I'll be putting down links to the websites. Like I know she made mention of NHS values, NMC code of conduct, confidentiality, informed consent. I'll be putting in links to where you can read up on these things to help you basically prepare for your interview. And I am wishing you all the best for your nursing interview. I hope you smash it. I hope you do well. And please leave your comments in the comment section. Do you have any more questions, areas that you're not so sure about, you need us to shed more light? I'll gladly do so. And don't forget to subscribe, share,
yes.
like, comment. And until we meet again, guys, I love you and keep winning and enjoying life. Bye.
Bye.